Shalom, call on Yahweh Shem Shah. Shalom to the left. This lesson I want to go in on. Just a little update on the news and the stuff that's going on across seas. Because simultaneously, while they're talking about the elections and all type of other little stuff, you got these nations, they gearing up for something more serious. So I'm gonna let this video play and I'm gonna pull the precept. See why they've been worrying about what Kim Jong-un been at. This what he been doing. What they call him, the Rocket Man. Let me give a little example. Now, mainly, what North Korea has is agriculture. That's how they make their money, and other means too. But one of the main things is agriculture. Now, I'll just read this real quick. It said the mountains contain the bulk of North Korea's forest reserves, while the foothills within and between the major agriculture regions provide lands for livestock grazing and fruit tree cultivation. Major crops include rice and potatoes. 23.4% of North Korea's labor force worked in agriculture in 2012. Now, the reason why I want to read that, let me post some images too. This picture right here, it says, beat your plowshares. It's in the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 10. That's the reason why I want to read that real quick before I read this. It said, beat your plows into swords and your pruning knives into spears. Over there, I'm reading the wrong version. It said, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. So you look at them, this is what they normally do. This is their culture. And this is what they normally be out there doing. You see them with their plowshares and pruning hooks. Now, this is what they're doing now. Okay, everything going according to scripture. Now, I'm gonna play this other video. I'm gonna make this short. I don't want to make it too long. There's other one right here I seen when I was out on the go. I just queued it up for later. It says U.S. sanctions on Iranian banks threaten food and man supplies. See,
U.S.
let me turn it down. Them doing that.
About yet more sanctions on Iran, further isolating the country from
the world's financial systems. You mess with
Washington
somebody.
claims the move is to stop Iran sponsoring terror activity.
You mess with somebody's financial system, eventually, it's like poking a beehive. Eventually, you're gonna get stung.
And developing nuclear weapons. Tehran denies those allegations and says the restrictions will only, in fact, hurt the Iranian people themselves.
Amid COVID-19 pandemic, US regime wants to blow up our remaining channels to pay for food and medicine. Iranians will survive this latest of cruelties. But conspiring to starve a population is a crime against humanity. Culprits and enablers who block our money will face justice.
And Iran knows that, and they've been put on notice. If you around with us, if you do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
Not extremely presidential language there from Donald Trump, but he got the message across. The new sanctions freeze the US assets of 18 Iranian banks, which hits almost all the country's financial institutions then. It also places secondary sanctions on firms that do business with those banks. And although Washington claims the restrictions don't apply when it comes to basic necessities, critics say foreign banks will be scared off from getting involved in humanitarian aid. European countries have reacted against previous US sanctions. Just last September, the foreign ministers of France, the UK and Germany, known as the E3, agreed to resist US demands to restore all UN sanctions on Iran. A World Affairs journalist Thomas Fassbender believes the sanctions are not just about targeting Iran, though, here, but more about sending out a wider message to the bigger world, too.
Even if there is some mechanism in place that will still allow medical or humanitarian aid get into Iran, any foreign company, any foreign bank that is dealing with Iran, that is involved in such supplies, they will have to apply, they will have to wait for licenses, for approvals. From a practical point of view, there can be no question that this will impede aid and support getting into the country. It is a political move by the US. The US are gambling on using their economic might, their power over the global financial infrastructure to pacify any potential opponents from Russia, China, Iran, Venezuela, Cuba. Even Germany is hurt by US sanctions now, and we'll see what this will lead to.
It's going to only lead to one thing. That's what it's going to lead to. I'm going to just read this. It says, in the book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 4, it says, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and rebuild and build the desolate places. That said the Lord of hosts. They shall build what I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. And your eyes shall see, and you shall say, the Lord Yahweh will be magnified from the border of Israel. And so what's going to be magnified is this event right here. So the book of Joel. I read this one much times, I'm going to bring it out again. So the book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 2, it says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and part of my land, but that land be parted over them. It says in verse 3, and they have cast lots of my people and given them blood for a heart and soul with bread from wine, that they might drink. Now, verse 9, I'm going to skip down to this. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man, let the men of war draw near, let them come up. And once again, beat your plowshares into swords, and your poneglyphs into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. And them doing this right here, basically messing with their nation or whatever, tampering with their money, their financial system, them being able to do business with people. One thing that just happened recently was, let me see if I got it queued up over here. Venezuela signed this oil deal, which they didn't want them to do, so I ain't gonna go to the full video and watch the whole thing. Like I said, I want to shorten this up. You can go check it out. You all can do a lesson on it, what this can bring, the outcome of this. But them messing with their money, man, most wars, if not all wars, are started because of somebody messing with somebody else's economy. Just say you got your own business, and then somebody else come around and try to undercut your business and start doing stuff. Eventually, you're gonna want to do something about that. They ain't just finna just let it slide. So same thing with these big militaries. And they say in the beginning, let me run this back one more time.
Tehran denies those allegations and says the restrictions developing nuclear weapons. Tehran denies those allegations and says the restrictions will only, in fact, hurt the Iranian people themselves.
And see, of course they're gonna deny. They're not gonna let them know what their arsenal is. Unlike Esau, which like to be proud and boast about every fucking thing, and let. But yeah, I'm gonna read this last precept in a minute. So. They like to boast about everything, and these nations will get the up on them because they boasting and telling every fucking thing. It's a book of Obadiah. I'm gonna go down there. You just read on down. Listen, verse 1 says, the vision of Obadiah, thus says the Lord Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise, ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. And that's what these nations been doing. They getting together. China, Russia, and Iran, the main ones. And other ones, they gonna join too, simultaneously. Now verse 2 says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that says in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's the mentality they have. They have this mentality, oh yeah, we got this amount of weaponry, the military, top military, can nobody do this and do that? Hey, like the scripture say, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Let's see. They think they running shit. But the Most High can put the spirit on these nations just to fulfill his will. And then simultaneously when they warn, that's when Yahweh Shah can show up in the midst to really fulfill what's supposed to take place. So I just want to bring this up. What was when this is edifying. Call out Yahweh Shah, Shalom to the left.